We're in the next session or podcast of EPM Chronicles and Confessions. We've got Andy Safhill here with us. Andy, could you please introduce yourself and your EPM journey?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Andy Safhill. I'm one of the two managing directors of EPM Plus. We're a niche consulting firm specialising in finance transformation and broader EPM. I guess from a EPM journey perspective, I started out many years ago in the world of insurance, working for what was Norwich Union, now Aviva, and ran a large part of their finance systems team in the general insurance business. Then moved into consulting with a great organisation, Paragon, where we worked together, Tim.
Definitely, yeah.
So a lot longer ago than I like to remember. Then moved to KPMG, worked for them for a long time as an employee, then as a contractor, and then finally set up a venture to work with my good friend Sashank, and we've now been running for nearly 4 years.
Wow, fabulous. So this is a question. It's really because we sometimes forget how technical our industry is and how niche it is. And the biggest challenge is really to explain it to our families. And I've heard various ways of doing that. But how do you explain it to others what EPM is? I know, have you had some misconceptions?
I guess most people that I work with come from the kind of Oracle background. So anybody who's not been in that space, needs a sort of bit of an explanation of what it is. But, we're in the world of 3-letter acronyms. And I remember one of the best sort of partners I've ever worked with at KPMG. We worked on HFM at the time, and he just couldn't say HFM. And he just kept saying FHM, which at the time was this kind of lads mag. Every time we had a presentation, we used to pop that up on screen and catch him out. But
sure, cool, thanks. So, what's been your most significant EPM challenge, and how do you deal with it?
I guess part of the challenge working in EPM is it's always evolving, and it doesn't happen within a vacuum. So what we've tended to focus on, that's why we end up with a kind of EPM Plus bit, is actually EPM as part of an ecosystem. So along with ERP and data and MI. So we tend to look at an end-to-end solution. So actually where you get significant challenges on EPM tends to be, in our experience, on how it interacts with the other parts of the architecture. So that's where we've chosen to focus rather than on implementation purely of EPM components.
Sure. So really, what's really a standout success that you've had in your EPM career?
Well, I guess there's probably 2 client experiences that really stand out. I don't know if we're allowed to name names or not, but RBS is one of those ones that everybody worked on, everybody on their CV, but it was a really fundamental client for many of us, and a great working experience. And I don't think it's ever been surpassed in terms of its scale and complexity. Sure. And then we worked on an insurance client many years ago, Caitlin, and that was the most efficient project I've ever worked on. There was no layers of management. There were just the exec and us as a delivery team, and it was phenomenal to be able to just get decisions made so quickly and then product built. It was months and months quicker than anything I've ever worked on.
Fabulous. So what is the most rewarding aspect of your job, you'd say?
I guess it's probably a bit of a cliche, but the people. I know it's, I do work with some great people. It takes a lot of time and energy to set up your own business, and working with Sashank is, it is really good fun, and we've got skills that complement each other. So actually, I think on a day-to-day basis, that's probably the thing that makes the most difference.
Fantastic. So this happens to me every day. I mean, in my line of work, I've had a lot of unexpected stuff. It's just probably my character. I'm just, in that sense. So have you had any unexpected moments in your career that you can share with, or humorous moments?
Yeah, there is. There's lots of them, but there's one that comes to mind, and this was from my first week in, I would say, a large Big Four organization.
Right.
And there were two of us starting the same week, and we had the same initials.
All right.
We'd both come from a similar organization.
Right.
And they mixed us up and sent one of us off onto the wrong client and the other onto the wrong client.
Wow.
And we ended up each respectively in our own clients for best part of 2 years, actually being placed in the wrong part of the country, wrong industry, based entirely on having had the same initials.
Wow, that's fascinating. So, you started your own.
It wasn't funny at the time.
I know. Yeah. So you started your own consultancy, and what's been the inspiration to do that?
I guess we both started out as kind of business partners almost within our respective organizations, but we wanted to be able to cut through some of the challenge and the noise that you tend to get with big organizations to what we thought were the key components of successful delivery that we'd experienced across lots of different environments, and bring that into a sort of service that could be delivered more quickly, more effectively, and on our own terms, really.
Okay, fantastic. So as you know, EPM, we've got lots of tools out there, a lot of applications, a lot of competition, a lot of other consultancies and also consultants. How do you keep abreast of it all? Where do you get your information from?
So I guess there's probably a couple of areas. So I do tend to read a lot of background reading on the internet, look at blogs and things, of your kind of posts on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. But also a lot of reading outside. So most of our client base over the last 10 years has been in the insurance industry and banking. So it tends to be more industry specific than EPM specific.
Sure.
But then we've got very close relationships with the vendors as well. So I guess we always keep kind of updates on that kind of thing. But it tends to be more industry related than EPM related, if I'm honest.
Okay, cool. So in the audience, there are what I've seen, a lot of beginners, a lot of people trying to understand EPM, some trying to even move to EPM, and also companies training people on EPM. So what's an advice to beginners in EPM?
I guess one thing that I hadn't realized when I sort of set out on EPM was how important it is to get a diverse experience. So I guess my advice would be to anybody, where it's possible, travel as much as you can, get exposure to as many different industries as you can. It's worth specializing, but not until you've seen as many different areas and as many different organization types as possible. I think that's what sets apart some of the great consultants that we work with in the Big Four and in some of the independent organizations. It's their breadth of experience, not necessarily the depth that counts.
Fantastic. So you and I have been in this industry for a long time, and it's changed, it's evolved. I remember how it was like the early days. If you got a crystal ball, what would you think is going to happen in the next couple of years in our industry?
I don't know. I get asked this a lot. I get asked the kind of old AI question and where's it heading. I was a bit skeptical about AI, and then I've started to use it and I've started to see how it can help. I think one of the big areas that's going to create a big shift in EPM is in the non-financials. So both extending from kind of ESG into true non-financial and the blurring of the lines between data and EPM. So I think the level of governance and control that will need to be overlaid on data as it becomes almost like evolving with AI. I think that's probably the most interesting and challenging area that we're going to be dealing with going forward. But there's so much stuff that we just I just don't know yet. And I think it's about some of the templates that we use day in, day out, whether they'll become obsolete or whether they'll just become useful guides for the future. I think that's the bit that's interesting to see how that's actually going to go.
Yeah, cool. Well, Andy, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
good to talk to you again, and hopefully talk to you soon again.
Absolutely.
Have a
Cheers,
great
Dick.
day.
Thanks a lot. And you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.